Good afternoon. This is Katy Huff with Katy Huff Ministries. And I am here today with a dear friend of mine, Don Wittman, off of the East Coast in Connecticut. And I'm thrilled that he is going to share with us what he has set himself free from. But before that, I just want to say thanks for listening to this episode of Setting Yourself Free. And until next time when I come on, you can go to www.katy-huff.com to learn more about my book, coaching, courses, and retreats. Follow Katy Huff Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more encouragement and stay up to date on all things with Katy Huff Ministries. So I am grateful, thankful, and blessed to have Don Wittman out of Connecticut here with us today. And he's going to share with us what he has set himself free from. So Don, thank you so much for being willing to come on and share your story and tell people how you've been set free.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I've basically been set free from, the jobs that have not been fulfilling. I somewhat like the personal touch. I grew up where everything was very personal. You helped friends, you had a real neighborhood, there was lots of people that gave a lot of support. It was very interactive and stuff. And working in corporate can be very cold. And they say great job, but they don't, slap me on your back, and do they really mean it? You can never tell. I mean, there's no, you never tell, you don't know. And it just kind of, over time, it just doesn't feel great. So after my last job, I just, the company was going under, so I decided to go out on my own, and encouraged by others. I was at a job search group, and I reverse engineered LinkedIn, and I was helping a lot of people in this group, and it was very interactive, and people actually appreciated helping them get a job, the personal interaction, listening to them, spending time with them, getting the stuff done. And you feel more like a person. You feel more fulfilled. And, people genuinely enjoyed working with you, and, when they got hired, you watch them almost jump out of their skin and enjoy. It's very fulfilling. Whereas corporate, it feels pretty good for a day, but, you succeeded. You might have, boatloads of money, but, it really, for me, that whole personal piece was missing. And so it just felt cold, and working your butt off for very little, very little interaction, very little friendship, very little of feeling fulfilled. That all turned too cold in the end of my career. And I want to do something else to go back to where I was, where people appreciated you, and that personal interaction made a big difference, and helping people, right? There's nothing more demeaning than being out of a job for a year. You see the people's depression, and you see how down they are, how problematic they're having family problems or having money problems, and when you get them far enough along in their job search, in particular, I do LinkedIn, and they get their offers, it's just like the light comes on. I mean, you can see them beaming on the other end of a Zoom call. It's unbelievable, the change. It's like, as a senior executive, I helped. I give a good example. He was a chief marketing officer, a very successful person, and he was down and out, depressed. He was out of work for a year, right? And he had no success on LinkedIn. And he was having lots of problems with executive recruiters and stuff. And he said, I'm desperate, and said, okay, this is my process. This is what it is. and we worked through it. And, it took us 3 to 4 weeks to get his initial LinkedIn profile done. And we put up his beta profile, 2 days later, after 2 days being up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, he got one call each day from headhunters, the most he's ever gotten. They weren't necessarily his perfect job, but he's getting calls, right? He's just so excited. He's going crazy, right? He says, okay, come on, Don, let's get this thing. These are the changes. I really, let's get the rest of us pumped out. We spent the next couple of days, an hour or two the next few days. And so within a week, we had it, fine-tuned out there. And hiring for executives is, it is a long process. So it took 3 months after that, but he was getting offers. And now you got some offers where he had to go to this, he was a local guy here in Connecticut. He had some offers from California. He had some offers from Middle America and stuff. And he was terrified he wasn't going to be able to afford his kids' college because his kids were going to college, right? Which is everybody's these days. What am I going to do with my kids in college?
Right.
So, at the end of it, he got an offer local, right? And more money.
Nice.
Right. And he called me going, I can't believe it. I got the job I want. I got it local. Actually, my commute's 15 minutes shorter.
That's great.
And I'm going to make enough money to be able to keep my kids in college. And I made more than what I did before. And to see his face change from the first day I talked to him to the day he gave me that, we did that Zoom call. It's just like, you can't believe it. It's like a glow, right? You're helping people directly. You're helping people to succeed. You're getting a lot of fabulous feedback. You're getting a lot of reward for doing that. It's unbelievably empowering to yourself to keep doing that, because you've helped someone out of a bad place during a bad time, and now they're back to being successful again, right?
Right.
And that is unbelievably heartwarming and helpful to the person who's doing it, because you're just interacting with it. It's so rewarding. So that change, and going back to that one-on-one helping, the one-on-one rewards, the one-on-one thank yous, that personal interaction means a lot. I mean, I couldn't believe I missed it all that much, right? Because, you thought when you were a kid that's just the way life was.
Right. Well, there's a saying, Don, I'm sure you've heard it, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
And that sounds like what you strived for, was to be personally involved and make a difference in people's lives, was more rewarding than the corporate job with the corporate title, with the corporate income, possibly.
Right. And I mean, that's part of how I make money, but part of what I do too is, I only make money from a few percentage of the people I give classes to. I've given classes to close to 100,000 people have taken my classes.
Wow.
Over the last 10 years. And less than 1% are actually paying.
Wow.
Right. So part of what I do now is, I need to make a little money, but most of this is, helping other people in general. Right. Mm-hmm. So I get a few people where I can do this one-on-one stuff, but in general, I help, I get emails from people thanking me for the class and how great the classes were. I mean, that's very fulfilling. That's, very heartwarming and stuff, but you're making an impact on people, right? Whether they're at the low end of the scale or the very high end of this pay scale and stuff. It's hard, it's hard. I mean, there was another example is a 60-year-old salesperson. He's a software sales guy, right? And he's complaining, that there's ageism and everything else. And, and I said, if you were a good software salesperson, right, and you really know your stuff, you shouldn't be unemployed, right? You shouldn't be out of work all this long. Now, what are you saying? What are you doing? Let's spend a little bit of time just looking at what you're doing, because you shouldn't be unemployed, right?
Right.
A great software salesperson is a great salesperson, no matter what your age is, right? Even if you're 80, if you're good at it, you're good at it, right?
Right.
So, so he said, he told me all this stuff. It says what he's done. I sold this kind of thing. I sold this kind of thing. I sold this kind of thing. But you're not telling me about your successes. You're only telling me what you've done, right? You haven't told me, did you make President's Club? Did you meet your quota all the time? All those things that everybody is looking at. Well, I don't want to toot my horn, but you got to understand. I tried to tell him, you don't understand. Sales is tuning your horn. You have to. There's so much competition. You have to say very clearly, you're always above quota. I made the President's Club almost every year, but I did make it every other year. And go through your successes, not to toot your horn too loud, but you should let people know that you can be successful. You're people oriented. You can do stuff one-on-one, and you can be successful at that, because this is good salespeople have to be interactive, right? You have to be able to talk to the people.
Yeah.
Right. You have to make it. Yeah. You have to make that connection. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And
go ahead. I was going to say, so let me ask you this. So was there a sequence of events that you went through to be set free, or was it just like all of a sudden you have this epiphany and you're like, I'm done?
And
if there was a sequence, what was it?
It was really being unemployed.
Okay.
Right. My last job, I was a chief technology officer, and the company went Chapter 11.
Wow.
And I was lucky enough to have a 1-year buyout. So they bought me out, and I was able to spend a year looking for a job. And in my job search groups, this is who I helped. There was 7 people in this small group that I got introduced to, and I got everyone a job, every one of them.
That's awesome.
And they're the ones that encouraged me to move forward and do this.
Awesome.
They introduced me to other people. We expanded the group. They got other groups to have me talk there. And then, I started doing some paid classes, started doing the paid helping senior executives to get their profiles done. Because the further up, the harder it is. This it's harder to write a really attracting LinkedIn profile, and even a resume. I mean, a lot of people resumes are boring, and so are the LinkedIn profiles. But spending the time to get the person, and LinkedIn is supposed to be social. So it's supposed to talk about yourself, but people are saying it. A lot of these are very cold about that stuff.
Right.
So I learned, so I was going back doing this group I belonged to. It became very personal, and I loved it. You're the interaction with people, even in the classes, the interaction. I mean, if you're a job seeker in Connecticut and you go to any of these groups, you know what my name is, right? And I can talk at these groups whenever I want. I mean, they love to have me back. It used to be I used to talk once a year. Now it's twice a year. Now they're talking about doing 3 times a year.
That's great.
So the idea here is that the people love it, and I'll take questions. and I think that makes the big difference. And one of the groups are called it's a Jets group, the Schmoozers. And when it wasn't COVID, the presentations took about 2 hours, and I'd be standing there for an hour afterwards, having people come up to me, answering their questions, explaining stuff to them, and they just love the personal interaction. Right? They said, I finally feel good about I can be successful at this.
That's good.
And that provide, it lifts you up, right?
Exactly.
It's a whole different place.
Yeah.
Helping others and people, turning people's negativity into a positive outlook that they can succeed at getting a job. And the transformation that people go through is amazing.
Yeah.
But once they find the right path.
Yeah. So I'm a believer that God's perfect timing and plan for our life will come to fruition as long as we're willing to, take that step forward. So my question would be, how have you seen these blessings move in your life to set yourself free? Obviously, going from corporate America to unemployed to now making a difference in people's lives by helping them to get that job that they've been thriving and striving for, has got to be, obviously, like you said, pretty darn rewarding.
Yeah, I don't have the stress, right? The feeling you have when someone just comes up to you and says, "Oh yeah, you gave that call on this," and says, "Man, that you did a great job. I got, you helped me get a job. I did exactly what you said, and it worked." It just stopping you in the middle of the street and coming up and saying, you got me a job. And that is profound. And it just warms your heart and gives you an excuse, a reason to keep going. It's like I just released my last book. Now, I've been coerced or asked to do, instead of just doing a job seekers book, do a book on independent professionals, because the independent professionals are now having trouble. So I'm going to do that in the next few months. I mean, I've helped a few of them before, but it's just so rewarding. It basically gives you all the energy you need just to keep going. And I don't need, when I worked in corporate, I used to get, some people says too much. I used to get like 5 weeks vacation, and I still was stressed out to know, like nobody's business. It's just like.
So you're setting yourself free from the shackles of corporate America that basically suffocated you, versus setting you free to be, do, and have all that you were created to be and make a difference in people's lives. Where I come from is that our slogan was making a living while making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. I truly enjoyed the success in corporate, but it's not that fulfilling.
Right.
And that's really the difference, in that, you can do something, something for someone and do a great job at it, and just feel good at what you're doing. There's so much more positivity and sense of success when you're helping individuals than really helping people from afar. Right.
Right.
I mean, as a Priceline, we helped a lot of people with best price, getting vacations and stuff like that. I mean, that was, that felt very good, but it wasn't individually fulfilling. And this, being able to do this, is absolutely, you get some of these emails that, how great it was. I got my job. I got this, I couldn't have done this without you. That is just, that goes back to where I was when I was a kid. It's just, it feels like a family, feels like a neighborhood. And
awesome.
it's, it's just the way, you think life should be, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's, none of it's simple. You still have to work hard and everything else. But, you don't, you have that one-on-one relationship where you see what you're done, you see how much it's helped other people, and their success is your success. And it, and it's all around you.
That's awesome.
Whereas in corporate life, it's not really all around you.
No. Yeah, I remember when I was in pharmaceutical sales, and I did that for 5 years, and I agree with you. It wasn't a family. So, and I'm grateful that I left too. So that being said, what is your advice to someone, Dawn, who may be going through something similar, that they're handcuffed to the corporate job, but are unfulfilled? What advice would you say to them, and where would you tell them where to start to begin to set themselves free?
Well, part of what started me doing this was, actually doing a lot of mentoring when I was at the corporate office, right? Pick a few people that you can help, and you'll see the start of, your successes, how people are helping people be successful, and making sure that, it's a very positive experience for both you and that person. And the more you do that, the more you see that what you're missing. I mean, I took on quite a few mentors in work, and people that I protected and made sure they were successful, and they were successful. I mean, it's, particularly in, one of the gentlemen was nasty to one of the girls, like he used to call my birthday bud. And, and I basically said, this, don't ever do that again. Without reporting into HR, and made sure she knew that I was, that I was there. I was going to help her if anything went wrong, and made sure that he didn't get in the way of her succeeding, because that's typically what it happens. You have some guy who thinks he's a jerk, and you help the other person along, get past it, make sure that she's successful. And I've helped quite a few people be successful. But that individual mentoring can be very successful as a start to your growth, to get out of the winter, I guess I would call it, right? Because corporate gets cold.
Yes.
And get back into, much better to deal with people on a one-on-one basis and help people out. And that mentorship was something that helped me a lot get past the chills of the corporate environment. And when this came along, it was just sort of, this is what I've been waiting for.
That's awesome. So I would suspect you would say that being able to serve and to give back to people, to see them step into what their desires are, and they can then walk that blessing and intention of God's plan for their life, is
right.
Pretty magnificent.
Right. Serving other people, helping other people,
right,
is part of what, for me, makes things click, right? Right. I grew up, like I said, I grew up in a very warm neighborhood with a lot of very loving neighbors and stuff like that. And, again, as soon as I started getting back to that, you just want more and more of it. You want to feel like you're part of a neighborhood. And this has helped me feel part of a huge neighborhood now.
That's awesome. Great. Right. Well, is there any final things that you would like to say? I think that's pretty good. Getting back to the neighborhood and being able to serve and have that family atmosphere.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much better it feels helping people than having to deal with the stress of corporate life. You have to be able to get it off your shoulders. And this was my way of getting it off my shoulders. They're the start. And then, transitioning back into the neighborhood.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you and thank everyone for listening to this episode number 5 of Setting Yourself Free. Until next time, please check out www.katy-huff.com. As I said, to learn more about books, coaching, courses, and retreats. And please follow Katy Huff Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more encouragement and stay up to date on all things happening with Katy Huff Ministries. So thank you, Dawn. I appreciate it. And I look forward to you making a difference in people's lives and being in that neighborhood forever. How's that?
Thank you. Thank you for the interview.
You are so welcome. Hello, friends and family. This is Katy Huff with Katy Huff Ministries. The reason that I'm reaching out to you today is because I have had the incredible experience of using the MyPillow products. So what products are there? There's the pillow, of course. There's the sheets. There's the towels. And in fact, my puppy even has a dog bed. So I'm reaching out to you because I have the opportunity to help you to save a lot of money when you find these products to be such use for you and your family. So you can go to mystore.com/unmasked is my promo code. So you're going to want to use my promo code to get those discounts, or mypillow.com/unmasked. That way you're going to get an incredible discount. You're going to enjoy the sheets, the pillows, the towels, and hopefully your little pet will enjoy the dog bed as well. Thank you.